You are live.
Hello, everyone. This is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. The time is 7:34, and I call the meeting to order. Do the Pledge of Allegiance first of all. If you don't feel comfortable trying to do it in secrecy over the over Zoom, you can just mouth it along. So, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, I think we did pretty good with that. So congratulations to us. Before you should have the agenda. It's a pretty light night in that regard. But is there any potential changes as far as additions, deletions, or comments on the agenda as presented?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Motion, I don't believe there's a need to actually vote on the agenda since there's no problems with it. So there is 4 of us right now. So you're Christine, Alan, myself, and Carl, and looks like John is entering the room. Let's see, I might be able to admit him. I'll try that. Well, I hit a button and he either comes in or I pushed him away. It looks like he's connecting in. So we have definitely have quorum over here. We're only missing Rebecca, and I believe she said she's going to, she had a meeting that might be running late, but she was going to try and join us if possible. So with that, we can go straight to the minutes. Hopefully you had a chance to pull those off of online. If you have not, feel free to do that now. So you're able to go to the Grozio website, go over the meetings, and then you should be able to select our last meeting, which was on May 20th. And please let me know if you have any comments on the minutes that Christine was able to put together for us.
There he is.
Yeah, there you go.
You there, John?
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that.
Hey, John.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
So, John, have you had a chance to take a look at the meeting minutes from last month? Or are you feel comfortable making a vote? All right. If there's no comments, I'll call the question in regards to approval of the meeting minutes as presented. You get a second?
Second.
All right. Call the question. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Christine, for putting together the minutes. So moving on, we do not have any members of the public on the call today, but I did receive a phone call from a resident that was concerned about bicycle and pedestrian access. And, she was talking about how, she wants to be able to access the Downriver Link Greenways, be able to go from, Elizabeth Park southward to Gibraltar, connect into the Humbug Marsh Unit, the International Wildlife Refuge, and beyond. And so currently, because the free bridge is closed, she needs to get in her car and be able to go across the toll bridge and then drive down to Trenton in order to start her journey. And so she had asked if there was a way to allow pedestrians and bicyclists on the free bridge at the moment. So I kindly told her in that regards that, one, this is not our territory. It's owned by Wayne County, and they're the ones that make the decisions. And as of right now, they've deemed it unsafe for any travel. So that being said, that's the letter of the law right now. I told her, we would, ask the township just to see if they've asked about it before, because we do understand that pedestrian is quite a bit lighter than a motor vehicle. but I told her that the chances are it's going to stay the same because unless they specifically designate a certain part of the bridge that would be safe and with an active construction zone, it's highly unlikely that they would allow that. And so I was able to touch base with Derek Thiel, and he did confirm that this has been an issue from that resident in the past, that they did ask the county about it multiple times, and the county has always said no. So we did follow up on this and do our due diligence. Any questions?
No.
Hearing none, move on. First item as far as an update, as well as a potential action item, would be about the Downriver Link Greenways initiative with the Wayfinding project. So I believe a couple months ago, I was able to share with you some information about the Downriver Link Greenways. And they have been doing a branding effort and wayfinding effort to help pull together all the different trails and bike lanes and such within the Downriver area, especially as it relates to the Iron Bell Trail. So one of the things that they're talking about is actual signs. Some cases they're talking about large signs, other cases smaller signs that could be within each community and a special location, be able to let people know that you're part of the Downriver Linked Greenways or part of the Iron Bell Trail. And how do you stay on that when you're come up to an intersection and there's multiple ways that you can move. Sometimes if you're on a sidewalk or a trail, you could go left or you could go right or go through. In some cases, it might be more obvious and not need a full sign. But, this is one of the things that they've been talking about. They've also been talking about confidence pavement markers to accomplish the same task. So it's a little bit lighter, quicker, cheaper in approach. They've talked about confidence signs as well as doing high visibility pavement markings, or doing something similar to what you see down here with the example of a river through the crosswalk markings to designate which part is part of the Downriver Link Greenways. They've also looked at, again, from a branding standpoint, if communities are interested, to be able to purchase like-minded benches and bike racks, trash receptacles, planters, even bike fix-it stations. And so, depending on who's interested, they might be able to get bulk deals on these amenities, but they're purely optional. And this is just a rendering showing one of these signs at a location, as well as bike rack and planters, and I believe it's in downtown Trenton, or it might be Flat Rock. I'm not sure. Another example along Jefferson and Ecorse, right around Southfield. So you can see John Dingle Park within the background. This is Slocum, which again I believe is in Trenton. And so just examples of how these things could be used in the capacity. So it's kind of an overview of what they've been proposing as far as different products. And then they also have a map showing where they were potentially proposing them within each community. So I'm not going to spend time on these, but they have locations in River Rouge, Ecorse, Wyandotte, the intersection. Another part of Wyandotte as you're approaching Pennsylvania, Trenton. Several in Trenton because there's some complicated moves in that area. But by the way, I should start here. So when we do create the shared use path that will be on Jefferson that goes to the Free Bridge, there'll be some wayfinding signage there within the city of Trenton. But when it comes to Groseal, this is what they were specifically calling for. So if you recall, once you exit the Free Bridge as you're coming towards Groseal and you'd be on the south side of the Free Bridge utilizing the sidewalk, you would be able to utilize a sidewalk that follows the ramp down to West River. And then once you're at the intersection of that ramp and West River, you would be able to use a new sidewalk that would be installed that goes along Water's Edge and connect up to Bellevue. And then from there would be a new sidewalk on the north side of Bellevue that would run up to Meridian and cross Meridian Road and connect into our shared use path system. So then the Meridian path. So what they are proposing at this location is C, a confidence sticker. So that's, let's see if I can show that. One of these. And they're also proposing a small sign, at this intersection over here. And again, so the small sign is, it's a little bit more pedestrian scale. You can see it's about 6 foot tall as opposed to 8 feet tall. So I think that would be, if we were to put one here, that would be, I think that makes more sense in that case. Sorry, my computer's freezing up over here. Can everyone still hear me, or was my internet?
Good.
Okay, that's good. Not sure why my computer is freezing up over here, but the point is that they were talking about that location as well as at Macomb Street and Meridian, I believe including another small sign at that location to note, because from the Downriver linked Greenways standpoint, their goal was to get users to Macomb Street and to the end of Macomb Street at East River to be able to use the observation deck in order to look out and see the rest of the Detroit River. So I don't know, and I apologize again that my screen is still frozen over here. But did anyone have a chance to take a look at that document, and do they have comments on the placement of the recommended infrastructure? And if so, do they think that was enough? Do you think that there needed to be more? I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Brian, for me, it's a little confusing because there's so many places you can put them. It's hard to say we need to put one here or put one there.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like anywhere they put one is going to be just an asset. So it's hard to give input on that.
Yeah, I do understand. And I think that they're looking to, hey, do you like the small sign? Do you like the large sign?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a need for additional items? And one of the things that I recommended is that, the first, signs or confidence markers that we see within Groseal is, after you're halfway through like our portion of the Downriver Link Greenways from that perspective. So it's like you see a wayfinding marker and sign in Trenton, to turn on the Groseal Parkway, but you won't have anything when you cross that bridge to know where to go. And then, once you come, snake down, how do you know to turn onto Bellevue in order to get to this location that they're talking about over here? So I do recognize that, again, there's nothing existing here right now. So maybe that's why they didn't include it within the renderings. But that was my comment is that, hey, if we're really serious about putting in the sidewalk along Bellevue and connecting up to the West River area, we'll really need something on Groseal Parkway, as you exit the bridge, and something as you wrap down the connector to West River, and then probably something at the Water's Edge Community Center from that perspective. And so I did already provide those comments, but I wanted to hear from you folks, as well as if we're interested in this, we would probably want to take some sort of action. So that way we can bring it to the township board for their specific comments and potential approval. And I should say, as of right now, this is just concept. This is just a plan. They don't have the funding for these signs at the moment, but they will be, trying to secure funding for those. So they'll be shopping around for grants and be doing it on our behalf. I did also ask, similar as you're saying, Alan, like, well, what if we wanted more? What if we said, hey, we like the Downriver Link Greenways, brand over here. Maybe we want to have, a wayfinding signage that goes south that connects us to the wildlife refuge, or to, goes north and, connects to the bird sanctuary up that way. Would we be able to purchase, additional, confidence markers of some sort, or, anything that we are interested in? And they said that, yeah, and, in the future, you should be able to do that. The other thing I asked, and this is because, hearing from you folks the last time I presented, I think it was pretty clear, which I do agree with, is that, we need to really focus in on the meat of, putting together new shared use paths, make sure we have the path first before we get into, some of the amenities that look nicer. So, do we want to spend, and I'm just throwing something out there, I have no idea what it actually costs, but let's say that it's cost $6,000 for a sign. Well, should we be spending it on that when we need to take care of some of our maintenance, or we need to be, putting in a new, the plan, spending some funding on our other planning efforts. And so what I did ask is, hey, what if we like this, but we don't want the town, the township isn't ready to purchase anything, but we do have residents that come to us from time to time and say, hey, we would really like to put a bench along the path, or we would really like to do something that honors one of our loved ones, and we want to put it along the pathway. Perhaps we could use some of the items in this catalog and potentially order those, just like we've done in the past, deferring them to other products that we've used along the trail. So that is an option for moving forward and building more of that branding and that concerted effort without spending limited township dollars. One other thing I wanted to ask about, and maybe it's okay, but I know that this area gets kind of tight here as far from a shared use path perspective. So if you're riding your bicycle down the shared use path, you get to Macomb, it kind of narrows up to a sidewalk over here, and as you're crossing Macomb, you get over here, and there's the traffic signal cabinet, and there's the poles, and there's several other things in this area, including the fence for Macomb Street, and so it's kind of tight already. And so if we put another sign in this location, does that make it tighter, or should we be potentially moving it just a little bit one way or another in order to better manage that specific corner? So one of the things I asked was, hey, could you show us your recommended location, but zoomed in a little bit more, so that way we know the precise location, because you can see that small sign there is about the size of a car, which, I mean, that would take up a lot of the corner. So it's still a little bit imprecise from my perspective. But anyone else, familiar with this area, would you have concerns, or am I more, you think perhaps that what I'm talking about is a little overblown, that we probably would be able to accommodate a sign?
I think as long as it's outside of the, the vision triangle, which is kind of radius to radius, or Alan knows that as well. I think as long as it's outside of that, and I really don't, I think the 6-foot sign is plenty. I think the 8-foot sign is for really pretty busy roadways, like Woodward or something like that, or more significant even than Jefferson. But like Alan said, you got to just start somewhere, I guess, with some of this improvements, and so you can always add to it more. They did a nice job on the report, though. They should be. It's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like the scale, the smaller sign.
Yeah.
The only thing that I like about larger sign, well, I mean, there's a couple of things that are nice about it because you have the more room. I do like that it actually has a space for the name of the community on it. But again, I would think that people over here probably by the time that they get to Macomb Street or by the time that they get to Water's Edge or Meridian, that they would probably already know that they're in Groseal, as opposed to like having to be told about that, because we'll have the wayfinding signage in Trenton, and so it would be more of a conscious effort to come our way, since we're more of a spur along there.
See, that would be great in Grosse Pointe. I never know. There's 5 of them. I never know which one I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, with Groseal, I mean, hey, you have to cross the bridge. I mean,
they know you're in Groseal. Else they're really lost.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, within this document too, I think maybe with this one, at some point it could have, it does have some of the pricing around that. So for example, like a fix-it station is, a little over $1,500, $1,600. The bike racks are between $500 and $700. So we do have this information that if anyone comes across someone that's like, hey, I really want to put a new bench in at our location, or the beautification committee would really like to do some planters along the bike path. Now we have some information that give them some ideas and some potential costs associated with that. So I know that they are looking for an action from us. And hold on here. I'm just going to make sure I read that for sure, exactly what they're looking for. Yeah, so they're looking for responses and approval of the process. And if we have comments, to give them to them, for example, locate the sign 3 feet from the back of curb, or identify if your community is not interested in receiving the branding at this time. So maybe, I'm thinking out loud here, but maybe it would be good to make a motion to accept the report as presented, with the additional sign and wayfinding markers that would help folks get from the Free Bridge to Water's Edge and to Meridian. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Does someone want to make that motion official?
I'll make the motion as presented.
Second.
All right. Any discussion before a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Thank you, folks. The next item on the agenda would be about the bike fix-it station. I know that there's a few emails that have gone around, with our Eagle Scout that is looking to do a bike fix-it station at, near the public safety building along the bike path. And Alan, I know that you're going to kind of help us out with that in regards, because Dan was our BPAC contact before he resigned. So I don't know. Do you have anything else to report on that, or is it the ball still in Henry's court?
I tried to contact and I was unable to reach him by phone or by email. I don't know if he's choosing to ignore this project or he may have timed out by age. But I also let him know that even if he's timed out, we'd still like to continue and finish the project.
Okay.
And I have not heard back from him.
Have you tried reaching out to his mother? Because I know that Dan said that a lot of times he'd have to talk to her too, because Henry, it would be hard to communicate with him via email, or sometimes he wouldn't answer his phone either, even though he had the best of intentions.
Right, right. Well, we're going to have to, because he's not responding.
Gotcha.
So I'll take that extra step and contact his mother.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. And take this moment and welcome Rebecca aboard. Glad that you're able to make to the meeting. Hope everything's all right. So just to let you know, catch you up, we talked about the Downriver Link Greenways, wayfinding and branding initiative. And so, we made a recommendation to the township board to, affirm the plan as presented for Groseal Township, with the addition of some additional signage and pavement markers that would help folks get from the Free Bridge to Water's Edge, and then to Meridian, where they had already proposed some signage and signs in order to get folks to Macomb Street. So that motion passed unanimously. And then we were just talking about the Bike Fix-It Station project. So now you're up to date. So our last item has to do with our bicycle safety class. So Christine has taken the initiative of trying to secure an instructor. So I'll turn it over to Christine to talk about her efforts.
Okay, thank you. We were finally able to get in touch with someone from the League of Michigan Bicyclists. His name is Scott Bendel, and we had a Zoom meeting with him, Brian and I did, and he seemed to be excited about our idea to come here and do a bicycle safety course not for children that are learning to ride a bike, but for the children that are learning to sort of navigate the island on their own and need to be able to know how to get across from the bike paths to places that don't have a bike path, or to cross some of our busy streets and things. And he said he was available all of July, I believe. So we took those dates, and I think we've got it narrowed down to 2 or 3 possible dates. We're looking at most likely the July 24th, I think. Yeah. You're on mute.
The 24th or the 31st.
Yeah.
Were
Okay.
Yes.
better options, and it sounded like Christine, you'd be able to make the 31st.
I can
Alan
make
would be
the
able
24th,
to make
not the 31st.
You can make the 24th, not the 31st. Okay. Alan, would you be able to make either of those potentially?
I will be out of town on the 31st. The 24th, I know we can't get the training room that day, but I'm working half of the day, so I can make some of it, but I cannot be dependent upon it for the whole class.
Okay. And if I recall, we're looking to just do a couple hours at most. I think that we're looking to start around 10 a.m. Have some instruction, but then get out and do a ride, and potentially do some drills in a parking lot. That's one of the reasons also that we're looking at the public safety building.
Right. I spoke to Kevin Langley, and he got it approved for any of the days after the 4th of July. On the 10th, they're having a car wash. So we're limited to 17th, 24th, and 31st. We've limited it down to about the 24th. It looks like it's going to be the best opportunity for us. Kevin said that there's a portion of the parking lot that we can use. And really, it's just up to us to make the final decision and then plan the event.
That's great. I know we're able to coordinate with Kim O'Farrell, so she said that as soon as we give her the location and the date, that she'd be able to put a flyer together for us, as well as make sure that the class is something that you can register for through the recreation department. So in addition to the date and time, we'd want to know, are we charging for this event? If so, what are we charging? And Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, that our instructor said, hey, if we are charging, it might be nice to give some bike lights or something back that helps out from a bike safety standpoint.
Yeah, he seemed really interested in us providing maybe bike lights or something. He thought that was really important. And that might draw kids in too, to know that they're going to get something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we might have some bike lights left from the, I know we gave some to the police commission in the past, so we could test those out, but it would be good, either way, maybe to probably, if we are charging, to see if we can get a cheap rate for additional ones. And that way we know for sure that the battery is going to work. But
yeah.
How do folks feel? Do we feel like we would want to charge for the event? And if so, do we know how much that it would cover?
My thought on that is a minuscule, a minimum amount, but charging means that I would expect more likely people will show, because parents will say, hey, that's awesome, let's register. And then the day of the morning, the kid's like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, okay, let's not go. And it would be frustrating to have 30 people register and 5 show up.
Yeah. And, if we're doing the 24th, we have, roughly a month to get registration. So, maybe we can say, well, hey, if you register by, I don't know, the first week in August, first week in July or something like that, we can have a better head count so that we know that we can order bike lights or whatnot. 'Cause I'm not sure, we would probably want to pick whatever product it is and, get it ordered either through one of the local bike shops, or find do some research online to see if we can buy in bulk and get a better deal. I think in general it might be nice to go through the local shop though, because I know that Petrie's has come out and done demonstrations for us on things before, which, hey, just thinking out loud, maybe that might be fun to do too. Like, I don't know what our instructor is going to cover, if he's going to cover changing a tire or something like that, but that might be something additional to include as part of the event. And Alan, I know you talked about registering bicycles, getting the bicycle license. That could be something that it's part of it. But I was wondering, is there anything else that we could see that's maybe fun or an incentive for folks to register for it? Would we want to, like, I don't know, ride up to ride up to the bakery, or go somewhere where there might be a treat or something involved in regards to making it just enticing it folks to come out. And I could be off base with this. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, it would be nice maybe to go ride to the bakery for ice cream or something. It might be fun.
I think
What age were you guys thinking?
I think the 24th.
Sorry, what age?
Oh, age. I'd say, generally 5th graders, so that'd be, around, 11 years old is probably the prime, because at least in the past, that's what we were thinking about, because that's when kids are generally going off on their own more rather than, riding with mom and dad. They're getting their autonomy, they're going to Macomb Street, they're going to the water's edge. So we thought that, again, that would be the target audience, but if a parent feels that their child is ready for it, we're not going to turn someone away that's younger if they demonstrate that they have the skills. And the same thing with an adult. It's like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that over the past year, they started riding when they hadn't before, because I know that they're nationally, you know, there's a bike shortage. You know, people are going out and getting new bicycles and such. So there could be folks that, you know, hey, they'd like to, you know, be a part of this, even though that they're a little bit older.
I was partly asking, I didn't know if you discussed COVID things for this. Is there going to be a classroom part that's indoors?
So Alan was able to secure a meeting space within the public safety building. I believe there's just one meeting space in there. So it's like, depending on how many people we have, I think we should be able to, you know, separate folks out, you know, at least, you know, provide, you know, a couple seats in between, you know, each person in the class.
If it were possible to meet outdoors, you might have a little more of the people who are concerned. You know, if you're under 12, you can't be vaccinated now. So that would open it up to those who are being extra cautious.
Do we have access to like an easy up tent or something we could put up?
We haven't in the past. We wanted one for the bike to school snacks we were handing out, and we didn't have one then, but I didn't have much time to ask around other than our committee.
Yeah, it might be good to ask our instructor, you know, if he prefers to have, you know, indoor space versus outdoor. Again, I don't know how much he's gonna, you know, how much curriculum he's going to have. And if it's not much, again, you know, maybe being outside is okay. You know, depending, you know, we could also look at the Macomb Commons. So, you know, we do have the gazebo over there. So,
Brian, what about perhaps making this more of a family event when we're talking about children that are starting to navigate and look around the island? We're not looking at the younger ones. And during that time of year, one of the things we've done at Public Safety over the years is they host an event. And it might be the Public Safety for Fire Awareness, fire celebration in October. It might be the 9/11 remembrance with police and things like that. One of the things that we've done previously is had a grill and tables so that people could come in, have a hot dog, have a bag of chips, and walk out with a soda, and make it kind of a more of a family thing, so that we have parents that are involved as well as the kids that are involved, and try and make it more than just you know, kids of a certain age. I want to see if we can expand this to the parents and to maybe siblings as well. I don't know if there's, and we could probably even find a coffee truck someplace there if there's one around. Just thinking outside the box to make it more of a celebration of not just bicycles and two-wheel traffic, but also family and bicycle pedestrian paths, where we could pass out maps. Here's access. Here's where your bicycle paths go. These are the things that you're able to do if you wanted to try and connect some of the businesses on Macomb Street, as an example, with a flyer. Just something to take it beyond the smaller age group and try and turn this into an event that not only helps the children, but also helps publicize the bike paths on Grosse Ile. I'd be willing to do the cooking.
all right, that was gonna be my first question.
Well, it might deter others from coming back next year, but I would, you know, we certainly have done that with the hot dogs, the chips, and things like that over at Public Safety, and it's gone over very well. That and the fact that we have fire trucks and a tour of the jail, which is always cool, but I'd like to see it maybe expand into something a little bit more than just an education for children, but let's take the time and see if we can educate some of the adults too. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts supportive of that, or you don't want hot dogs.
I guess I'm concerned. We've been working so hard to try to get this course in, and it's been delayed for so long. If we try to do more than that, I'm worried it'll just delay things even more.
I agree. I think we need to take a small step and initially have a class and then build off of it.
They used to do Safety Town every year, and they had a good turnout every year. I mean, I could see a bike class every year or a bike safety thing.
Yeah, and Carl, I mean, I think it's a great idea, and like, as I mentioned, you know, while our target audience, you know, might have been that specific age group, I had no intentions of turning anyone away, and I thought it'd be great if we did have more people. So I think that could be a goal to move forward with in the future. And before you were a part of the commission, some of our past commission trustees, you know, helped us with an event called Walk the Path. And so, you know, it would be at the Macomb Commons, and we had, you know, the trustees, you know, grilling hot dogs. We had, music happening, and we usually time that with the Barradur, Wayne State Barradur event, which, you know, starts in Detroit and makes its way across the region, including, you know, making a loop through Brazil, which happened to also be the island-wide garage sale. So it is something that we've done in the past, and you know, if we have folks that are, you know, willing to help with that, you know, it's something that we could, you know, do in the future. You know, it's quite a coincidence. And, you know, I was saw one of our former colleagues, Jane Fiegel, this past week, and that's what she asked me. She's like, "When are you guys doing Walk the Path?" And I told her, "Well, you know, as of right now, you know, that it's on hold. You know, we might do it in the future, but as of right now, we're kind of focusing in on the meat and potatoes of the infrastructure side and, you know, the education." And she was a little let down. She's like, "Oh, you gotta bring that back." So, you know, it might be something. You know, again, you know, I think if the timing was right and we had the manpower, we definitely could do. But, you know, maybe as a compromise for right now is, again, you know, as far as the advertisement is concerned for the event, is we could say, you know, families or children at entering middle school, and, you know, just, you know, put it as like, hey, we're looking for families to learn about it. They're more than welcome, of all ages. But if you're going to bring your child, you know, by him or herself, well, you know, maybe that age is, you know, right around 11 years old. Is there anyone else that is interested in being a part of the event and, you know, would be has some availability in July? And if so, you know, does the 24th work for you?
I'd be available.
The 24th may or may not. That's not decided yet. But the 31st probably would. But it depends on indoor outdoor for me, because my 8-year-old would probably be able and get something out of it. But I'm not putting her inside in classroom situations now.
Okay.
Brian, I'm good either day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm out of town on the 24th. Like, I might be in town on the 31st. I have a family reunion on the 24th.
Okay, so we're pretty split either way. Sounds like some people the 24th works, other people the 31st works. So is there consensus on, you know, which date we prefer to do?
Is the 17th also an option still? Or is that too soon? That was one of the dates, right? The 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st?
Right, the 10th, the 4th and the 10th are out simply because of other events. So we have the 17th, 24th, and 31st.
Mm-hmm. Today's June 17th, so that gives us, you know, 30 days, you know, to get the event completely in order. So, you know, as far as advertising the event, as well as, you know, purchasing any materials and any other logistics. I mean, I'll defer to, you know, the folks that are, you know, running the event. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I'm here to help out and, you know, provide comments. But, you know, hey, if if anyone is specifically leading it up, I'll defer to them as far as what time they think is the best.
I mean, the 24th definitely gives us more time than the 17th. Yeah.
Does it sound like that's the way to go? The 24th?
I'm on the fence with either day.
Okay, well, we will, let's shoot for the 24th, but again, have the flexibility of, if something needs to change, we can do that. I trust you, Christine, to make the best decisions for the project.
But do keep in mind that we will probably be limited inside a classroom because of the COVID restrictions, especially if we're targeting under 12, because they're not going to be vaccinated. So it could change everything. It could relatively dissolve the whole class simply because we can't sit inside and do a classroom instruction. So this has to be considered.
So I'll contact Scott and ask him, does he need the indoor instruction, or could the gazebo be an option? Because we'd have shelter from the sun. I don't know if he needs a whiteboard or something like that, but.
Right. I think the kids might have more fun at the gazebo than they would inside the training room myself.
Yeah, they have to be on their best behavior if we're indoors, so it might be more fun outside.
Right, and they can arrive at their bikes and keep their bikes right there and take the class and then ride from there. So
that's true.
But if we wanted to use a parking lot for the drills, we could still use the public safety parking lot as part of it.
Yes.
And I think that was my major thing is, first of all, we were looking at Centennial Farm, but Centennial Farm is completely booked. So that's when we decided to, look at the public safety building instead. And it's, again, wanted to be able to have some form of shelter and then be able to do at least a few parking lot drills. All right.
I'll contact him and see what he needs. And if he needs a table or anything, a dry erase board, whatever he needs, and we'll see if he can do it outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe does he have a recommended resource for bike lights that you think would be beneficial as far as, bike lights can be super cheap, or they can be $50 a piece. Just like there's a wide variety out there.
Right.
And so if he's done some before, or the league has some on hand that we can just purchase through them that are a modest amount, that might help us set the stage for how much we're charging for the event.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe it's $15 a piece or something like that.
Yeah, it would be awesome if they could be rechargeable, because kids leave them on and then they're done.
Yeah. So how about, Christine, asks our instructor about homework for the rest of us is, hey, if you're able to find something that's, inexpensive and, has the features that we're looking for, you send that over to Christine as well. So that way, we can make the best decision on what type of bike light to use.
Brian, also, I'll talk to Ken Pellin and see if he has any residual bike lights that we had given him and he hasn't used yet. That could solve our problem right there.
Perfect. Yeah, so if we have enough, I'd still say that maybe charging $15 or somewhere around that, like a nominal amount. But like as Rebecca said, having enough financial interest that someone's still going to come to the event, even if they're kind of on the fence the morning of.
Brian, would that be $15 per person or $15 per family?
That's a good question. It's $15 per if it's one person, that's not that expensive. But if you have a family of 5, that's a little more expensive in that regard.
Mhm.
Do we want to do a discount rate for, you know, a family rate or something like that?
I think that it gets too pricey if we set a price like that, then a family of 4 wants to come, but they, you know, that's $60 is just out of, I think, a reasonable range.
We might want to see if we can do bike light research for that decision, because it could be 15 per family, it could be 15 with $5 for each additional, or
Mhm.
I don't know.
That's a good point. I know a lot of the recreation events, they'll do that, where it's, you know, so much for the first person and, you know, discount rate for additional people. And maybe again, it's like, hey, if you know, if you have their first person already and you're not interested in a bike light or something like that, you know, well, maybe we still wouldn't turn people away. You know, just, you know, maybe just ask them to contact us or something like that if they're for a group rate for a family or something. You know.
So to move forward on this, why don't I secure the date of the 24th? We'll secure at least a corner of the parking lot and the room. And the room can sit empty if we don't use it. That's not important to me. And then we can plan to have it at the Macomb, what do they call that? What do they call the gazebo there? Macomb
Commons.
Macomb Commons, yeah, I'm sorry. And if we'll use that as a secondary location, and as soon as we secure the price of lights, which has to be done right away, then we can set the price for the event.
Sounds good. I assume that the recreation department might know if there's any events happening at the Commons. I don't know if there'd be any, you know, music events or something like that. Sometimes there's events
Okay.
at the Commons, so I'll ask Kim if she knows.
Okay, let's try to get back together with each other in maybe 3 or 4 days if we can get this information together to get the ball rolling, so we can set the price and get advertisement out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So with that, is there anything else that fellow commissioners would like to talk about before making a motion for adjournment? Yeah, Carl.
Ryan, just a quick update, if I may. The Ralph Wilson Linked Greenways grant application projection was approved by the Township Board. We are going to be going forward with that so that we are at least eligible for a proposal, and then the Township will decide what part of that proposal, if any, that they want to be involved with and expend monies and what the expenditure will be. And the second thing is the Ralph Wilson grant for some of the repaving, and the bridge over Frenchman's Creek was also approved by the Township Board. That is going to be in the name of Derek Thiel, since he was an applicant. But hats off to you and to Dan Jaster for starting that program, and certainly Derek Thiel for putting together the grant application. And it was successful. And while I can't announce the amount of the grant at this time, they've asked that we not do that until they make an announcement in July. It will cover a significant amount of paving. It will cover decking, and it is a dollar for dollar match. So for every dollar we put in, we're getting $2 of bang for our buck, and that's significant. You and I looked at that. We walked that with the engineer, and there is definitely some work that can be done using man-made materials, Trex, as opposed to the wood, because the price is compatible. And what you're paying for a 2x4 now, wood, is pretty much what you'd be paying for a 2x4 with Trex. And the advantage with Trex is it's low maintenance and is expected to last longer. So I thought both of those were good news I wanted to share with the commission.
Thank you, Carl. It is great news to have the board approve those. So excited about the project. And so as far as the, what's the word for it? The RFQ, or, you know, the actual like advertisement of bids, do we know like where we're at with that?
I would think that the best way to proceed with that would be to ask Derek Thiel to go ahead and put together through cooperation with our soon-to-be departing township manager, Dale Ream. And I can do that if you want. That would be fine.
Yeah. I know the process has been started. I just wasn't sure exactly if we were ready to go, or if the township engineer was still waiting on anything, to put it together. So I know there was a question about which composite material that we're using for the surface.
We also have Wes Pfeiffer, who's been involved with all of the bridges, and recently, as we'll all recall, was involved with a substantial amount of deck work on the trail bridge across from Meridian Elementary. So we may need to have some help putting an RFQ together from him, but that's also an interesting problem because in the past he's been the bidder, successful bidder. So may end up having to do some of that through Sahile's office.
Yeah, I've been working with Sahile's office already on that. So I just, I didn't, sometimes I get ready to work on something or finish something up and you're like, bro, you say, Brian, I've already taken care of that. So I just wanted to double check because I'm grateful when you do that, Carl.
We'll move that one forward.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Is there anything else to talk about before adjournment? Hearing none, I'd like to make the motion for adjournment. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, we close the meeting at 8:31 p.m. Everyone walk, bike, drive safe.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good
Night.
night.
Right.